これはペンです。Sensei-san, this is a pen. Tired of teaching boring lessons at your school in Japan? Well, go to Daiso! Today's video is not so much a DIY, but it's more of a advice on what you can buy at the dollar stores in Japan so that you can spice up your lessons in the classroom. Most of what I bought is from Daiso, which is the biggest chain, but various versions of these items can be found at the other dollar store chains such as Can-Do, Watts, or Seria. First, I want to talk about a classroom must-have, which is a set of 10 whiteboards and markers for a 40-kid class. This may be achievable on iPads nowadays, but I highly recommend asking your teachers if they can afford it in the English budget to get a set of these for games and activities. The A4 size is perfect. Try your best to get the ones without magnets as they just get lost and sticky. Anything smaller than that isn't going to work for a normal class. Schools typically have these pilot refillable markers available, and if you have to buy them yourselves, there are multi-packs at Daiso, but they're not as durable. Avoid the ones with erasers as they get lost and dirty and are hard to clean. Tissues, toilet paper, or magic erasers work way better as whiteboard erasers. If your school won't provide you with anything, then I suggest you get the A4 size file folders. They come in packs of 8 for 100 yen or $1, and all you have to do is put a blank sheet of white paper inside and they become instant whiteboards. They work just as fine, but they do get dirtier and are a little harder to clean than true whiteboards, but this is a much cheaper option, but they're obviously not as durable, and for younger kids, they're a little bit harder to use. So get your hands on a set if possible, or use iPad. The first tool to spice up the classroom should definitely be a big, squishy foam dice, something larger than life that kids can see across the classroom. Of course, they sell these at Daiso in various forms like the one that I have, but of course you could use Vegas dice or some other kind of dice. You just want to make sure that it's fair and that it's even on all sides so that you don't always end up getting the same number over and over again. You could even make them out of paper or cardboard. I just recommend something bigger than average. The second thing that I highly recommend every teacher gets is a point scoring system. So I use darts. I had one of these velcro sticky boards from Daiso. You could also get these sticky gooey darts. They stick to whiteboards or chalkboards. However, they do get kind of dirty on chalkboards. A more durable, long-lasting solution is to get one of these sticky balls, also sold at Daiso. You could draw your own point system or areas on a board, and then students throw the sticky darts at the board. I would recommend that you use this with older students. Another similar tool could be the basketball hoop, and simply assign a certain amount of points if they make the score from a certain distance in the classroom. Of course, the basketball hoop has lots of other applications as well, and can even be used for non-point system games such as reciting something and then getting a chance to throw it. Students really enjoy challenging themselves even if there's no reward, even if the dunk is just the reward. The next thing that every teacher should think about having is a bell. These are super useful because if you want to have two different teams, maybe somebody has to come up, whoever rings the bell first. You can also use it to get the attention, but I would ask to make sure that these are okay and allowed at your schools. Past tense of eat. Anybody? Kakoke of eat. Volunteers? Raise your hand. If you were a teacher like me and your students were not super fond of volunteering in class, I highly recommend spending the slightly higher price of 200 yen and getting a bingo ball spinner set. This can also be achieved with a whole bunch of iPad apps, so you should look into those if you don't want to shell out the cash. But the bingo set allows you to remove the balls for the amount of students you have. Every student in a class typically has a student number. So for example, you spin the bingo set, you pull out 13, whoever student 13 is, they're the one that has to volunteer or perform whatever the task is. It's not the best way to get volunteers, but it certainly works. It's also great for playing bingo. It's also good for practicing numbers for younger kids, so it can be pretty helpful to have around. Okay, whoever knows the past tense of eat gets to throw the ball and shoot the hoop. Last but certainly not least in my spicing up the classroom Daiso items is the magical microphone. This really does have the ability to give kids the courage to speak in front of the classroom. That may not work on all students. Sometimes they even have oversized versions which tend to be funny. However, do just remember you may bring upon some inappropriate jokes and other things with older kids, but it does give the kids kind of a point to think about and not just give a speech blankly to the class if they're performing into the microphone.
Sorry for the really bad green screening. Instagram didn't let me save the audio, so I apologize. So I'm just doing this here. I really hope that my Daiso suggestions help you think of some possible ideas just to add something little to the classroom. You would be amazed what you can do with these simple items, and you would be amazed the results that they really do result in. Good luck spicing up your lessons, and let me know in the comments if you have other Daiso or dollar store suggestions that have helped you in the classroom, because maybe you can help your fellow ALTs as well. Keep dreaming, dreamers!